Hello, it's Lion here with Hobbies of Man. Once again, and today we're going to be doing another first impressions review. Today we're going to be looking at Ranking of Kings. Technically, this is not really the first time I ever encounter this manga, but first impressions reviews are basically the way I talk about volume ones. And I was going to change the title just for one manga, so I'm going to keep it as a first impressions review, even though technically this is not the first time that I encounter this story, right? So yeah, let me run through the book facts, and I'll talk a little bit about this edition and why this is not actually available in English, right? So yeah, it's Ranking of Kings by Sosuke Toka. I think the Japanese name for the series is Osama Ranking, which means like king ranking. So Ranking of Kings is a good title. The publisher here is Kioon, which is from France, and they were the first not Japanese group publisher to publish this, which is why I own this copy and not a Spanish one from Ivrea. That's really why I have a French edition. The demographic here is shonen. I think it was a self-published work that then got picked up by an actual publishing company eventually, because it came from this weird website where submitters or like people could just submit stuff, and then if it gained popularity, it was picked up. It's kind of similar to the Manga Plus Creators thing, which I think is kind of a sketchy system, but you know, whatever, it doesn't really matter. And the genres are fantasy, coming of age, and some people have said that it's a comedy. I wouldn't personally say that it is a comedy, but that is something that people kind of have mentioned before, and if you look up online, it kind of is labeled as such. I wouldn't personally put it as such, but you know, it is what it is. And it does have an adaptation. I think it's on Crunchyroll. I've watched it before, and I'm watching the second season of it right now, or the OVA, the spin-off story, and it's insanely amazing. It is so good. I definitely recommend it. And honestly, I hate saying this because I really like the main story that comes from the manga. I think the anime is a superior product to the manga, and it's a very rare thing, but it's because of a very simple issue here. And it's that the art style early on, and honestly I would say, you know, overall for Ranking of Kings, is pretty bad compared to the anime. If you watch the anime, you're going to be very amazed. You're going to be very surprised. You're going to really enjoy the art style because it's a very kind of generic but very well-made story. And then you read this and you're going to be pretty upset that, you know, it looks so weird, right? At least if you're very superficial about it, which I have been before, so I kind of understand that. Like, there's when I started reading manga, I was really much of that sort of, you know, mentality. It's like, oh, I like the anime, but this art style looks really weird. I don't like it. I'm not going to read this. I eventually stopped doing that, right, as I got more into the genre, into the medium, sorry. But I think it's a very understandable initial reaction, and I think it's one that's really going to, you know, happen a lot with people when they start picking this up. And I honestly think that's probably why we didn't get a physical release of this in English, even though it was a pretty popular manga while it was coming out. Because I think there's going to be a lot of people that like the anime, then they go pick up the manga and they realize that it has very ugly kind of art style, and they're going to stop picking it up. And so it's kind of not a good investment for the companies, right? Which is why I ended up getting it from another country. This one is a really, really good edition. Kioon has very nice books. It has a very nice hefty weight to it. It's a very small size. Here's a 7 Seas volume to compare to it. This is kind of the traditional Japanese style size for tankobons. And I personally really like it. I also think it's kind of interesting because it has a few features that might not, you know, be a thing that shows up in English, right? So first of all, we have this, which is a cute little image across the two little flaps for the dust jacket. Then there's a little bit of an interior art style here. So there you go, and it continues on to the back. So if you open it very carefully, you have Boji and Kage having fun there, which is cute. And it has a color page inside. And it actually has an image of the characters here in color-ish, which I really like. I think it's really, really good. I like how Hilling and Boss look particularly, so I really enjoy that. I think it's nice. And I really like how the art style looks here on the covers, but I think it just really can't match or can't be matched by the interior art, right? So I really don't have a problem with it because I know the story, so I know that it's good, even though the art style is kind of poor. But I understand that there's going to be a lot of people that don't like it for that reason, right? So, yeah. Now, what is really the story about? I haven't really gotten to that point. But basically, it's about this little boy who is deaf and mute. He can't talk, he can't hear. But he's the son of a giant. He is this little tiny boy who is the son of a giant. And he is the firstborn son of this giant who has settled down and created the Boss Kingdom. And they exist in this world where there's a very major kind of worldwide, or maybe continent-wide might be the right word, competition between all of the kingdoms, specifically all of the kings of those kingdoms, to see who is the best. And the one that is ranked number one is given a special gift, which is basically a system put in place by the gods in order to appease these people after there was this kind of uprising revolt type thing, which you learn on later in the story, but I think it's important for the setting building, so there's that. The thing is that Boss is about to die, and Boji is next in line, but he has a younger brother who is stronger, who is faster, who can speak, who can talk, who can hear, and so Queen Hilling, even though she kind of really appreciates Boji, she is his stepmother, right? And she is kind of looking out for the kingdom and also looking out for her own son. And so she has decided to do political maneuvers in order to push Boji aside and have Daida, her son, and Boji's younger brother, be ranked or be coronated as the next king. When this happens, Boji is upset, obviously, because Boji does have a dream of being a great king. He wants to follow in his father's footsteps. He wants to prove people wrong and show them that he can and he is capable. But he has a very big negative reaction to this, and so he more or less ends up setting out on an adventure to try to grow strong and try to do things differently so that he can come back and claim his throne later, right? So that is more or less the basic plot line. We also learn that there's this kind of unraveling of this darker, deeper plot in the background. There's this huge development of the main character throughout the story, and there is this kind of underlying, like, very scary thing where there's this giant demon that came out of Boss when he died that no one really knows why. It is there, and it's very interesting. I really, really like the story. Definitely watch the anime, and if you want to physically collect it, you can get it from Lyrica, which is a French book website, and they don't charge you shipping. The books are pretty affordable. They're about the same cost as a Western manga, and they're very, very good, right? You can also get it from Spain, from Ivrea, I think, but you'd have to order it from Casa del Libro, which is a store that doesn't really give you free shipping. They give you a set shipping cost that kind of changes based on how many books you've got. And so it's not really the most affordable way of buying it, but it is one that exists. So Book Depository really has ruined a lot of things for myself as collecting goes, but I'm still willing to collect non-English speaking things as long as I can kind of get them in a sort of not very difficult way. And so I am going to continue to collect Ranking of Kings from Lyrica. I'll pick it up from Lyrica, but it's probably going to be something that I don't collect all that often, just because it's not that easy to buy something and then have to wait for it for 3 weeks, right? So yeah, that's it. That's Ranking of Kings. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you guys very much for watching the video. And yeah, thank you guys again, and see you guys later.